If there had ever been windows, they were now hidden, buried behind layers of time, silence, and things you didn't want to remember anymore. The walls were dull, colorless, like they had absorbed every emotion you had ever tried to suppress. The air was still, heavy, almost tired. And in the middle of that room there was you. You weren't always here. That's the strange thing about suffering. It doesn't arrive all at once. It builds, quietly, patiently, piece by piece, moment by moment, until one day you realize you are no longer standing in your life, but sitting inside something you created without even knowing. You sat with your back against the wall, your knees pulled close to your chest, your arms wrapped tightly around them like they were the only thing keeping you from falling apart. Time didn't move here. Or maybe it did, but it didn't matter anymore. Morning, night, days, weeks, it all blended into one long, endless stretch of silence. And in that silence, your thoughts became louder, too loud. They were right about you. You always mess things up. You're not strong enough. No one is coming. At first, those thoughts used to scare you. You would shake your head, try to push them away, tell yourself they weren't true. But over time, they stopped sounding like lies. They started sounding like truth. And that was the most dangerous part. How the room was built. You didn't walk into this room one day. You built it, brick by brick. The first brick was small. A moment you brushed off. A time when someone laughed at you, not with you, but at you. You smiled back then, pretending it didn't hurt, but it did. And that feeling, it stayed. Another brick came when you tried your best, and it still wasn't enough. You remember that moment clearly. The way your chest tightened, the way your hands felt cold, the way you told yourself, next time I'll do better. But next time didn't go the way you planned either, so another brick was added. Then came the goodbyes. The kind you didn't expect, the kind you weren't ready for, people you trusted, people you thought would stay, but they didn't. And each time someone walked away, something inside you whispered, see, you were never worth staying for. That whisper became another wall. Then came the moments you never told anyone about, the nights you stayed awake thinking, the times you smiled in front of others but broke down when you were alone, the times you needed someone but didn't know how to ask. Those became the ceiling, and before you knew it, you were inside. The illusion of safety at first, the room didn't feel like a prison. It felt like protection. No one could hurt you here. No one could leave you here. No one could judge you here. It was quiet, too quiet. And in that quiet, you told yourself, this is better. But slowly, that quiet changed. It became heavy. The kind of heavy that sits on your chest and makes it hard to breathe. The kind of heavy that turns silence into loneliness, and loneliness into something deeper, something darker. The walls didn't just protect you anymore. They trapped you. The door you stopped looking at, there was always a door, right in front of you. You knew it was there. You just stopped looking at it. Because every time you did, 1,000 thoughts rushed in at once. What if it's locked? What if I can't open it? What if I open it and nothing is there? So you stopped trying. You told yourself it was easier this way, safer this way, and days turned into weeks and weeks into something you stopped counting. The knock, it happened on a day that felt like every other day. Nothing special, nothing different, just another moment of sitting in silence, staring at nothing, feeling everything. And then knock. You froze, your heart skipped. You weren't sure if you heard it correctly, so you waited. Silence. You shook your head slightly. I'm imagining things, you thought. Then again, knock. This time it was clear, real. Your heart started beating faster. No one had ever knocked before. No one even knew this room existed. Who's there? You asked, your voice barely holding together. There was a pause. Then a voice came, calm, gentle, steady. Someone who's been waiting for you to answer. You frowned. That doesn't make sense, you said. No one comes here. I do, the voice replied. The conversation that changed everything. Go away, you said quickly. You have the wrong place. I don't, the voice said. There was something about the tone, not forceful, not demanding, just certain. You felt irritation rise. You don't know anything about me, you snapped. You don't know why I'm here. You're right, the voice said softly. I don't know every detail. That surprised you. You expected an argument, but it didn't come. But I know what pain sounds like, the voice continued. And I know what it looks like when someone carries too much for too long. Your chest tightened. You didn't respond. I know you didn't choose to feel this way, the voice said, but I also know you stayed here longer than you had to. That hit hard. I didn't stay because I wanted to, you shouted. I stayed because I had no choice. There was silence again, not empty silence, understanding silence. You had reasons, the voice said gently, but you also had fear. You looked away from the door. Yes, you whispered. The fear of opening the door let me come in, the voice said. No, you replied immediately. Why? Because you were afraid. Afraid that if you opened the door, everything you had buried would come rushing out. Afraid that if someone saw you like this, they would leave just like everyone else. Afraid that hope would return and break you again. You'll leave, you said quietly. I won't, the voice answered. They all say that. I'm not all of them. You shook your head. You don't understand, you said. If I open that door, I might fall apart. Or, the voice replied, you might finally stop pretending you're okay. The first step you stared at the door. Your hands trembled slightly. I don't know how to open it anymore, you admitted. That's okay, the voice said. You don't have to do everything, just take one step. One step won't change anything. It will, the voice said. Because it means you're trying. You hesitated. Then slowly, you placed your hands on the ground and pushed yourself up. Your legs felt weak, like they had forgotten what standing felt like. But you stood, and that alone felt like something breaking and something beginning. You took one step, then another. Each step felt heavy, but also lighter, like you were leaving something behind with every movement. At the door you reached it. Your hand hovered over the handle. What if I'm not ready? You asked. You don't have to be ready, the voice said. You just have to be willing. You closed your eyes, took a deep breath. And for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel impossible. The opening you turned the handle. The door didn't resist. It opened. Slowly. Softly. Light entered the room, not harsh, not blinding, but warm, gentle. Like it understood you needed time. You stepped back. Your eyes adjusted. And then you saw them. Who was standing there, it wasn't a stranger. Not entirely. There was something familiar about them. Not in their face, but in the way they looked at you. They didn't see your failures. They didn't see your fears. They saw you, the real you, the one buried beneath everything. You came, you said quietly. I was always here, they replied. You just couldn't hear me before. The healing begins. They didn't rush in. They didn't force anything. They simply stepped closer. Can I come in now? They asked. You looked around the room, the walls, the shadows, the place that had held your pain for so long, and then you looked back at them. Yes, you said, and that one word changed everything. The room starts to change. As they stepped inside, something shifted. The air felt lighter. The walls didn't seem as strong. The silence wasn't as heavy. What is happening? You asked. You're not alone anymore, they said, and for the first time you believed it. Breaking the walls, you don't have to destroy everything at once, they said. We'll do it together. How? You asked. By facing it. And so you did. One memory at a time, one fear at a time, one truth at a time, and with every step, a crack appeared in the walls. Light started to enter from places it never had before. The truth you needed to hear. You were never weak, they told you. You were never unworthy. You were never meant to stay here. Tears filled your eyes. Then why did I feel like this for so long? You asked. Because you were carrying things that were never yours to carry alone. Walking out eventually, you reached the door again, but this time it was different. You weren't afraid. You weren't alone. Are you ready? They asked. You looked back one last time at the room, then forward. Yes. And together you walked out. The end and the beginning. The room didn't disappear, but it no longer held you. Because now you knew something you didn't before. The door was never locked. You just needed someone to remind you you could open it. And sometimes, all it takes is a voice saying,